Yeah. Back before people went insane, I'm sorry, I unmuted you, Caleb. If you'd like to get the VC verified role, you're welcome to have a conversation with us. But just to respond to your typewritten question, the sun is clearly moving across the sky, and the sun, there's no verification of the sun being at the distance claimed, or many of the claims about the sun are unverifiable and extremely suspicious. So, therefore, there's zero reason why a sun couldn't be moving across a flat plane and going outside of your field of vision, therefore, uh, lighting up another part of the flat plane and your part then being in darkness. No need for a ball to have a day and night. But yeah, go ahead and give us your next question or response to that question, Caleb. And then if you can speak to us, we could give you the BC verified role, and then you'd be able to see the live stream, voice text, and the information that's going along with this voice channel, as well as other parts of the server that are currently invisible to you.
I didn't mean any offense by the question I asked. I was just kind of curious, more so if you guys had any answer. I haven't found anything yet. As to why it is 24 hours then, if we're not able to directly see that. Why wouldn't it be 12 hours or 8 hours?
Because the sun travels over the Earth in 24 hours, as has been recorded long before the delusion of the globe.
Do you have any resources I can look into that? Just so I don't want to make you keep explaining yourself, because I also was talking to someone.
Yeah, it's called a sundial.
Solar noon. Jesus Christ, dude. When you find solar noon and then count the number of hours, and then it'll be solar noon again.
I think Caleb's question might be, why does it do that?
Why?
I already told him as well, we don't make up explanations, we just go by the evidence.
Okay, that leads me to a question, a genuine question of, does it not bother Earthers in here that you don't have any model that you can use to make predictions, while the globe model does?
You don't have a globe model that makes predictions. You just.
I'm not bothered at all. Chad, are we bothered?
So check this out though.
I'm not
Post the globe
bothered,
model in the
Christian
chat that predicts sunrise, sunset, solar noon. Go for it. I want the mathematics of the globe model right there. GPS uses Earth-centered, Earth-fixed. Try again. That's not a globe. It's tangent plane.
But it uses both.
No, it doesn't. It uses Earth-centered, Earth-fixed, which is a tangent plane in X, Y, Z coordinates.
What's the need for Z coordinates?
Your elevation.
Okay. What about solar eclipses? And we can predict when solar and lunar eclipses happen.
Yeah, we use a solar cycle for that, not a globe. Try again. Keep going.
Link me to that, please.
No, it's called the Solar cycle. The first person ever predict an eclipse was a flat earther, so it's been around since, according to history, 2300 BC, way before the globe model existed.
Yeah, I can find you the link to that from nasa.gov. I'll put that up in the live stream voice text.
This is I don't mean to pick on you, but this is a funny thing is that a lot of people think that the natural phenomenon that we predict to happen uses a globe model to predict them, but it doesn't. For instance, sunrise, sunset. It's completely based not on the globe, but on the celestial sphere. Latitude and longitude are in the celestial sphere. They're not points on the ground, contrary to popular belief. Solar eclipses, they use something because they happen at a regularity. The coincidence of 3 different cycles. That's how we predict solar eclipses and lunar eclipses. We don't calculate orbits. We don't calculate orbits for any of this shit.
The specific time at which eclipses happen and the specific parts of the planet that are eclipsed vary each time, and they are predicted quite well.
They use the Solar cycle, right? But to position it, to project it onto a quote-unquote globe, really within the celestial coordinate system, because the globe is really just the celestial sphere projected onto a ball, really onto a point. But they project the line onto a plane through the surface of a ball. You can also do this on a flat Earth. It's been done. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, I could post that.
Well,
Shane St. Pierre did
I
it.
agree it doesn't mean anything, but my point is more like the usefulness of whatever's correct is more relevant, I think, to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's
Not
why
like,
we don't use a globe.
It's correct.
No, so you have an idea of how it works, but the mathematics of how it works are not a globe. What aren't you understanding? If you look at the formulas and the equations, there's no globe in them, dude. What aren't you understanding?
Can you tell me how to spell, is it Sorrel's system?
Saros, S-A-R-O-S. So all NASA's predictions are done by a guy named Fred Aspernek, every single one. The ones that go out to like freaking the year 4000. It's just computation of the Soros cycle over and over again. Then they use what's called Besselian elements to project it onto the surface of a sphere. But that sphere is technically just the celestial sphere. So where the sun and moon will appear in the celestial sphere against the background stars is the projection. They're not calculating orbits. They're not calculating where the sun and moon and Earth are in some orbital path. People just think that. I don't even know where people get that from. Oh, they showed you diagrams in school. That's right. Oh, you did diagrams. Yeah.
I just had a quick question. So the sundial only has 12 spaces. So I'm still confused of where you got the 24 from that.
Because the Greeks subdivided the circle into 12. That's why we have 12 hours.
I mean, think about a clock. Any clock that you might have, like a physical clock, it's going to have 12 as well.
But we have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah, it goes around twice.
The reason we have 12 is because they decided to use the zodiacs as a subdivision of the circle. The constellations?
But like, why wouldn't we just have 12 hours in a day then?
What is it? What? We have what we have.
Where does your night go, buddy? Where does your other 12 hours of darkness go, bud?
In 24 hours, it's noon again. It's very simple, bro.
Globers are dumb, and that's it. That's what I realized, all of them.
Let me ask you this. Do you think...
I think Caleb is new, so I think we can give him a chance.
Yeah, he's real new. Yeah. A brand new account, too. Just joined Discord today.
Welcome to Discord.
Say that. I've been here for a couple years.
Well, your account says you started it today.
I can like send a screenshot if I need to, but I've had this account for multiple years now.
Oh, sorry, Caleb. I was mistaking you for someone else. My bad. It was 2 other ones in the lobby, not you.
Well, even if it's their first day, everybody's got to join for Discord the first time, right? It's fine.
Yeah, typically they're a troll if they just joined. Then the first thing they do is join the Flat Earth server. Because we can see how long it took them to join the Flat Earth server. Typically it's seconds.
Well, correlation does not prove causation, you know?
I didn't claim a cause.
I'm just talking smack. It's all good.
Yeah, we understand, Caleb, that, when the idea of discarding the fantasy globe toy first comes across your consciousness, you think because you were indoctrinated with that idea when you were very young, and then you were taught all these other things, and you were told that they all comport to this globe idea. So therefore, you think if you have to discard the ball, then you also have to discard all these other things, where the reality of it is all of these things work perfectly fine on a flat Earth. That includes sundials, day and night cycle, anything else you might want to bring up, volcanoes, hurricanes, stars in the sky. Like, none of those require a ball in order to function.
I mean, like, if you say you didn't know anything and you just popped out of the Amazon rainforest and look at the sun and we're like, oh, a 24-hour day. How does that tell you the Earth is a ball?
I mean, I wouldn't think it was. That's kind of where the question's coming from. It's like, if I looked up, I would just think it was a 12-hour day.
Well, if you just... Why?
You what?
Because I'd only be seeing the sun for 12 hours.
Nobody on Earth ever sees the sun for 12 hours. Not even at the equator. Even though it should happen at the equator on the equinox, it actually doesn't. That's another globe nonsense that actually don't come true. So...
And so you don't experience night then?
Yeah, there's day length. Day length varies depending on where you are in the time of year.
So then that's my question, is like, is it 12 hours of quote unquote daylight and 12 hours of quote unquote like night
Depends on
time?
the time of year.
Is that where we're getting
Day
the
length
24 from?
Day length depends on the arc the sun takes in the sky. The higher the arc, the longer the day length. Typically, unless you're on the equator, then everything's backwards. But I mean, what does any of this tell us about the Earth? I mean, I'll just say this. So there's only one dichotomy between flat Earth and globe Earth that you can definitively say it's one versus the other, and that's whether the surface of the Earth curves. If we measure the surface of the Earth directly and it's not curving, doesn't matter what the sun, moon, stars, all that crap does. Whatever it's doing over a flat Earth. Right? But just like measuring a table, right? It is what it is. You measure the table, hey, 48 by 48. Hey, cool. Doesn't matter what the lights do above the table. It's not going to change those measurements.
And I agree with that. I guess I'm just like trying to get clarification so I can have more nuanced conversations about what my views of the Earth's shape should be or are, and how that differs from what they currently are.
Well, we don't think the Earth is like a shape, like an object that you can hold in your hand and that you can go into outer space and look at like it's an object floating around.
It's like a plane, right?
The surface is a plane, is a topological plane that's horizontal, level, but it's not an object. Let me ask you this, just so we get on the same page. Do you think the universe would be an object that you could go outside of and like hold in your hand?
I'm honestly not sure. Like, it doesn't make logical sense, but that's kind of why I joined, was to get more information.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the point, is that this has been known that like questions like this, they're just infinite regression fallacies. Like, eventually, no matter what worldview you have, you're going to reach a point where it's like, okay, this is everything. Well, what's that inside, right? You can always say, what's that inside? You know, is that an object? Okay, that's contained in some metaspace. Okay, what's that inside? Metaspace? Multiverse? Like, you can just go on and on, right? It can just go on forever, this thing. So, we don't, at least, I don't know what everybody else thinks. All I know is what I think. I don't think the Earth is inside of anything. It's not inside of a greater space. This is it. What you see is what you get. The only way you're going to leave here is in a coffin. And I hate to put it that way, but that's the truth. You're not going up in the sky to look back at Earth. You're not going to get a third person point of view. None of that's ever going to happen. That's fantasy land. I listen, I can 100% say for certain, and I bet any stack of money on it, every person in this chat is never going to see the Earth from a third person point of view. Ever. That's only on TV. It's only on a screen. It's in a book. It's in a picture. It's never actually going to happen for any of us. This is why, like, pictures claim to be from space. It's nearly impossible to even evaluate whether they're real or not, because What are you referring them against? You don't have any memory of seeing the Earth like that. So when you see a picture, how do you the Earth looks like? What if the fucking Earth's a ball? Like, what if the Earth's a ball and it's purple? Right? You don't know. Just because they show a freaking green, what they call the blue marble, how do you know the Earth's blue? How do you know that's a picture? There's no way to tell. I especially when people go, "Oh my God, that's such a realistic picture of Earth." How do they know it's realistic? How would you tell a realistic picture from Earth from the fake one? You would just compare it to some other image you saw. You can't compare it to any memory or experience. And that's really the kind of like the heart of this, is that, like, what do we actually experience in reality? And we freaking abandon all the beliefs. We go, "Hey, I'm gonna shut off all those beliefs, and I'm gonna say, hey, what do I really actually know? I know the Earth appears flat. I know the Earth appears motionless. I know the sun appears to move. I know the stars appear to move. Right? I know all these things from direct experience." Then some freaking dude in a pointy hat comes along, writes a bunch of occultic symbols on a freaking chalkboard, and says, "Nah, man, that's all fucking illusion. You're fucking spinning. That's not flat. That's curved." And if you don't believe that, you're dumb. Right? That's the situation. I'm sorry to just put it like bluntly like that, but that is the situation. You can't put lipstick on that pig, man. What's up, Joyce? Long time no see.
Hey, good to hear your voice.
Yeah, man, it's great to hear yours too. I'd give you a hug if I could hug you through the fucking computer, man. I missed you guys.
Yo, bro.
Same.
I'll hug you too if you're jealous, man.
Virtual
jealous,
group hug, virtual. I feel it.
Hey, Joyce, is Iceland flat?
Well, yeah, mostly. It's got like a flatland, like a highland, and then we got a bunch of mountains, but for the most part, generally flat, yes. Flatter than a pancake, at least.
I mean, anybody got any questions? I mean, I know that was pretty jarring exposition, but
Yeah, I have a question.
yeah.
Are we are we live?
We are live. So, I mean, I think the question all the Gobras need to ask, like, when you were in school and they said, "Hey, kiddos, welcome to kindergarten. Look at the globe in the corner. Earth's a ball." What evidence did they present that that was actually true? And have you ever checked? Like, the reason most of the people in here, because the difference between us and you is we checked, right? So the globe Earth makes certain predictions of what should be, and then if you check, they actually aren't. Which Dandelion talked about. Should be drop over distance. Right? Shine a laser, you beam it some distance. The laser should get further and further away from the surface of the Earth because the surface of the Earth is curving and the laser is going straight. You should be able to measure that distance, that separation. Well, these tests all show that there is no separation, that the laser runs parallel to the surface of the Earth. And these are done over water, and since the surface of the Earth is, mostly water, then If the water's flat, the Earth has to be flat. Pretty simple proposition.
All of our measurements that we do practical in reality are based off of a horizontal plane. When we measure height or elevation, that's based off a horizontal plane. All of our tools work on horizontal plane. The horizontal plane is the baseline reference of reality that we experience.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's exactly right.
We lost Caleb, sadly. I thought he at least was asking questions and listening to the answers, but maybe he'll come back. Lewis is here. He's kind of
Hopefully
new, I guess.
stream.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe he just has to go contemplate for a while, and then he'll return. We'll see.
Hope we don't come back as a brain in a jar.
I hope not, too. Banishment's with us. Welcome, Banishment. Oh, I guess Banishment's muted. They don't have a role.
So what happened to the ladies' night?
Oh, they were having didn't you hear their internal dispute? Yeah, they just
missed it.
oh, yeah, you missed yeah, you didn't miss anything. It was kind of ugly. Yeah, I mean, it was probably a fake internal dispute. That would be my diagnosis of it, but they were started fighting among themselves and then they disappeared. So, I guess they're fighting it out, in some mud wrestling arena somewhere far away from Discord.
See, we get an invite.
Yeah, I bet that CB's on his way.
Whoever hit that, it was perfect timing. Good job.
So Banishment, DL Burkers, Lewis, if any of you have a question about the flat earth, or if you just would like to say hello, I did unmute you, but if you don't say hello to us, then we won't be able to give you the role. If you say hello, then we could give you the VC verified role, and then you'd be able to unmute yourself in the future as well as see more parts of the server, including the live stream voice text that goes along with the things we're discussing here. Or if anybody else has a question or comment about the Earth, by all means, speak up. PPB's down there at the bottom. Welcome, PPB. Disney princess type. I don't know which imprisoned princess that is. Maybe Rapunzel. She looks like she's in a castle. She's got really long hair. I'm going with Rapunzel.
So Kruger Dunging, you seem to be a globe defender. You have any questions? I mean, there's a lot more problems with the eclipse other than the things I just said. The Selenilian eclipse there's freaking, a lot of times the eclipse path don't actually happen. This has been observed of quite a few times that I know of. There's a video guy, he stuck like a camera, like almost like, it's not a ring camera, but it's like a trail camera. He stuck it outside of his house and he recorded the path of the sun and the moon over like a month, over the period of a month, to watch how it crossed the sky. He had a southern exposure and looked up like how the sun was supposed to eclipse the moon according to the prediction, and it was nothing like what he actually observed. In fact, the moon didn't even get to the right spot. The sun didn't get to the right spot. And then instead of intersecting it like from top down, it like came from behind it. It's a long ass video because he shows all the video that he took and all the things. But I'll actually post it in the chat. It's very...
Send you a message, so if you have it, you can send it to me as well.
Yeah. It's kind of long. It's like an hour and a half long. I mean, you can probably skip like the first 40 minutes or something like that and just get to like his presentation of the actual evidence. But it's actually pretty whacked out. I actually forgot about it for probably like a year, and I just remembered it today because I was talking to someone about eclipses last night.
I think, like, ultimately, I'd have so many questions if I could, like, talk to one person one-on-one. One of the, like, big issues I have, and I think there's probably other people like me, is that I don't really care what shape it is, but if a certain shape means we can do things and the other shape doesn't seem to produce any results, I just find that really hard to then, like, trust at all. I kind of wonder what's the benefit in thinking one way or the other, or the benefit in believing it's a globe is like.
No, you don't have to believe it's
I
a
think
globe. You still get the same benefit. Listen, the whole coordinate system is based upon the stars and the sun. That's it. You don't have to believe the Earth is anything to use that. Right. So
also think
longitude is
you're
based upon. Hold on, CB. Let's say this real quick, and I'll let you go. So the longitude is based upon the solar position, and the latitude is based upon where the celestial equator appears in the sky. So those two, that's your coordinate reference system. In fact, you couldn't find your latitude and longitude if you couldn't see the sky. The entire reference system. And you mentioned GPS. GPS, it'll show it to you in lat and long, but that's a coordinate transformation. That's not how the GPS receiver gets it figures out the coordinates. Doesn't use latitude and longitude. Uses something completely different, and it's converted into that.
That's correct.
So, but the point is that like, what actually is I hear you, like, if it's useful, but what actually is useful? It's not thinking the Earth is a globe. It's thinking that the sky is a globe. Because that's what it's actually a model of. It's not a model of
who functionally uses that, because, like, positionally you can do it on a flat Earth, and I agree with that. Then you can look at, like, careers like surveying, like civil engineering. Like, they have to account for the curvature of the globe in some cases. That's
okay.
like,
What makes you think that?
That's what I've been told. I'm not a civil engineer or a surveyor. I've been told that.
Well, we've heard this before. Specifically, two instances: the Verrazano Narrows Bridge and the Humboldt Bridge, which I think crosses from England to Scotland. Okay, they didn't build it accounting for curvature of the Earth. They never measured for the curvature of the Earth. They just assume, based upon the coordinate system, that the towers are tilted away from each other, right? That the tops are like two and 1 3/8 inches further away than the bottoms, but they're like a mile plus apart. You'd never even be able to measure that, right? They just assume it based upon the curve of the Earth, which is really funny. Because if you look at the images of either one of those bridges, the water's completely flat underneath the bridge, which is kind of hilarious. People go, oh, look, man, the bridge is freaking had to be accounted for curve. Why? Because the fucking water underneath the bridge is. Why would they have to account for curve if the fucking bridge isn't even touching the Earth?
You know how, like, globers explain how Earth has flat water wherever you look, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I was just
But
checking.
it wouldn't be about looking at it. It would be the water would physically be curving.
Yeah.
You understand the visible
we hear
part.
you guys say locally flat, dude, but like.
Well, it took them about 4 arm twists to say that, but you have to have the water physically curving though. So and there's really no explanation for that.
Pepper spray, freaking bear mace.
Yeah. It took them years to even utter the word flat. But I mean, when we try to get them to defend the water physically curving, they seem to refuse and point to things like visible variables like refraction and stuff like this, optical variables, instead of a physical characteristic of the water that would be required if the Earth was a globe. So, do you understand that, Donnie?
I'm not sure I follow. So you say there's a physical characteristic. I would argue the characteristic is that water is able to flow. Is that not the one you're looking for?
No, you said you understand that the water would appear flat, which we all agree, but we're saying it actually is flat, and you have to defend that it's physically curving.
Oh, I see. Well, I'd probably personally rely on something like the horizon and watching something disappear at sufficient length, but like,
Isn't the horizon line since this?
sorry,
What if we
repeat
showed
that.
you that this? If we could show you that this also happens on flat surfaces, then what?
Well, the flat surface is curving in a similar way to the water as well. It would be my argument there.
No, if we can show you the same phenomenon happening on a flat surface, then things disappearing, bottom up, isn't like the proof that it's curving. If it can be shown also on a flat surface.
I wouldn't say it's proof, but I'd say it's an incident that kind of corroborates a claim. You know, it's like
No,
one.
By process of elimination, we've eliminated that variable that it would be curving. We can show it happening on a flat surface.
So I think, like, because I'm seeing a few pictures come up as well. Like, if I showed you 10 pictures and you immediately dropped your argument, I'd be really shocked. So I'm sure you can imagine that when you show me pictures, I'm not like, wow, that immediately proves I'm wrong. There's one thing I notice in common about all these pictures, which is atmospheric distortion, which is quite extreme. Like, there's just 3 of them. I'll say that. Like, they're not proof or disproving to me. That is something I notice about all 3 of them.
Can you be specific which images you're referring to?
Just the ones in the live stream voice text.
Okay.
But like, to kind of like respond more to what you were saying, like, just because the phenomena can happen in 2 different like worldviews, it doesn't disprove one of them. Like, I'm not saying it's round because water curves. I'm saying this is what water does because you've asked me to basically defend that point.
Is there like another argument? Because you're saying that we see this boat go over the horizon, so that would mean that it's curving. But if we can show you that that's not the case in all cases, then
Show me that
do you have like another
show me that
argument?
it's not going over the horizon, or show me that it's.
We have some examples where I think India, you might have that small boat on the lake and it's disappearing. Bottom up in the same way. So if someone could post that might be helpful.
Yeah, I can try to find it. It's on Indio's channel, I think, right? I'll look for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty common, though. If you just go to like Google and search proofs for a globe, that might be one of the first things you'll see is that, well, we see boats going over the horizon, therefore it's physically curving. But if we can show that that's not really the case, then is there another argument if you're saying that that's not the only thing you're relying on? But people usually lead with, so.
I don't really want to necessarily mention things I already have, but like, there's a lot of professions out there that seem to make use of, at least they purport that they make use of the curvature of the Earth. It just seems strange.
With the water physically curving? Yeah, because we were talking about the water physically curving. So what
water.
did you cover? Did you forget?
Yeah, mostly the horizon. Like, I don't know why water wouldn't curve if like everything else does.
Let me give you an example. So we have salt flats that get flooded. If the Earth was a globe, then and the water is conforming to the globe, then when the salt flats get flooded, the water would form into a hump. Do you agree with that?
To a hump?
Yeah, to conform to the shape of a ball, like you believe is happening to the water.
No. I don't believe that.
Well, what is the boat going over?
What, the boat in the salt flats?
No, he's talking about in the
I feel
ocean.
like you're talking about two different things.
No, it's
Yeah, I was just giving you a very simple understanding so that you could understand that if you're on a globe and the water is conforming to the shape of the globe, creating water hills in the ocean, then when a salt flat floods, then there would be more gravity towards the center because it's going into the ball, and so water would collect into an apparent hump relative to you, who is measuring the water going into the center of the salt flat. However, that's not what we see.
So water will disperse, but it will remain at the same level as much as it can. And what that level is dictated by gravity around it. That would be.
Yeah, and so if gravity and the ball were causing water to conform into a shape of a sphere, it would cause a flat surface on the Earth, on the supposed ball in your hypothetical, to cause water to form. A flat surface large enough would be a container for water, essentially, and it would curve along the Earth curve, like you believe the oceans are.
Yeah, sufficiently large. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, problem is we do not see the oceans curving. We do not measure any curvature of water on large standing bodies of water. So it just doesn't happen. Well, the problem you're having is you look out with your eyes and you see in perspective. And when you look in perspective, the ground plane and the sky plane appear to meet at a vertices, at a point in your vision. And when you don't have walls to compress that into a single point, that point stretches out into a line. That optical phenomenon is the horizon. It is not a consequence of the Earth or in any imagined curvature, and that's why it does not conform to the assumed size of the Earth. When we can see 10 times further than the assumed geometry of the Earth, that means the Earth is so big that it would encompass all the way to the imagined distance to the moon, surround all of the moon, and that's how big it would be. It would be so large that you could fit all of the imagined planets of the solar systems into it.
Those are actually some really interesting numbers. I'd love to see them. Unironically, I'd really like to see them because that is quite cool. I think. Sorry, I lost my train of thought though. What's interesting? Sorry, yeah. What's interesting to me then would be a test if you had a really high intensity source of radiation, like a light or I don't know, it's like a microwave, and you saw how far it could reach in a straight line. Because if you got a really, say 100-mile relatively flat section, or a few.
Wow, that sounds great.
Maybe, then you could test and see a really high
Chernobyl
intensity
wasn't
thing.
good enough for you?
Chernobyl. It was mostly contaminated matter, I think, rather
I
than
thought you said radiation.
gamma rays
What are you saying?
penetrate anyway.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. You kind of have a habit of talking through the points. But carry on.
How about
you can look into this online.
How about instead of 100 miles, we just pick a distance that's 2 orders of magnitude? greater variance than the globe prediction. How about that? Would that be good enough?
Like not really. Like I don't know why.
What? So let me ask this, friend. Let me ask this. So if you hired me to make a flat floor, right? And rather than there being a 16th of an inch or a millimeter variance over the entire floor, so very, very flat, right? There was a foot or a yard or a meter, you know? So instead of being 1 centimeter off, it's 300 centimeters off.
Yeah, I wouldn't be happy.
But yeah, it'd be obvious, right? You don't need to do any more scrutiny than that. 2 orders of magnitude is plenty, right? So in other words, it's instead of a single digit, instead of a double digit, it's a triple digit. So it's supposed to be only 1 centimeter off, but instead it's hundreds of centimeters off. Like there'd be no question that you need your money back, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't then feel emboldened to make the claim that you'd made my floor round. Right? So like the claim that the Earth is not a globe, one thing.
No, it's
Claim that
the
it's
opposite, brother.
infinitely flat is a completely separate thing. But I don't
No,
really see
it's the
why.
opposite. It's the opposite. It's the opposite. Because we all understand the physics of water. And the physics of water, how it lays, is literally the definition of ideal level, right? So the surface of water is either going to be a level congruent with a flat horizontal plane, or it's going to be a level that is curved wrapped around a ball. It's going to be one or the other because water is level, period. Right? So all you have to do is measure the water, and if it's not curving, then it's flat. And so all the physics of the level of water then apply across the entire surface of the water of the earth. I mean, that's a given. I don't see how you could argue otherwise, unless you think in some areas water can be flat and level, but in other areas it could be sloped but not flowing, and in other areas it could be curved but not flowing. Makes no sense, right?
So
yeah, you
it's a
said
bit of a
sufficient distance.
I
I'll
might
submit
have
to you,
said
friend,
sufficient
that
distance, but I feel like
yeah, my bad.
every
Go
time
ahead.
you go further, be interested to know how much further you can go. And that's just like an inquisitive
Well, that's well and good, but you only need to go far enough to disprove the point, and 2 orders of magnitude is plenty to disprove it.
Maybe you're not understanding this, dude. Imagine you went to the doctor and he said, "You're 600 feet tall." Get it now?
I don't think it's a reasonable comparison.
It is, because that's the difference in what's been measured versus the globe. It's 2 orders of magnitude difference.
Again, I'd be interested in seeing.
I'll give you another analogy, brother. I'll give you another analogy. On a construction site, we cut wood a lot, right? And we often do what's called inching ourselves, which means someone tells us 97 inches. We get out a 10-foot board, and then we cut it at 96 because our eyes saw the tick mark an inch over. But nobody ever comes back with a board that somebody says, "Hey, cut me 96 inches," and they come back with a board that's only 1 inch long because they accidentally mismeasured. Never happens, dude.
Yeah. But we're talking about numbers that you guys seem aware of, but I'm not aware of. Like, I'd be interested in seeing these situations where someone measures like 30, 40 mile horizon. And then I can actually like talk about it a bit better. At the moment, I haven't seen them. I'll scroll through and see if I've missed anything. So I noticed in one of the links I saw. Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay.
One of the links I saw, we're talking about like very elevated observers.
Yeah, horizon distance is easy calculated. It's 1.22 miles times the square root of the observer's height in feet.
This video I'm about to watch, does it have any, it's just loading at the moment, but does it have any like elevation info in it as well?
Which one?
It's Burn Mountain, I think.
Burn Mountain? Which chat are you in? Are you in the live stream voice text chat?
I don't know what I'm watching. I'm watching the oil rigs now, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that's 8-foot observer height. The horizon should be 3.46 miles away. If you look on the right-hand side, you can actually see Catalina, which is 30 miles away. The laser test above it, that's a 40-kilometer laser shot from 1.92 meters above the water surface. The laser was picked up at 1.5 meters above the water surface. It should have been 127 meters above the water surface.
Yeah, the laser should have missed the target by that much. Been up in the air, basically.
Laser, sorry?
Way up in the air. Should have been, and look, the only way you should have been able to pick up the lasers from the top of a 42-story building.
I don't think I see the laser.
It's the video above the oil rigs.
Oh, right, okay.
And above that, there's a link to a PDF, which is just a report if you don't want to watch the video. The video is just really the documentation that they did what they said they did.
I don't get how people can just hand wave those laser tests. They just hand wave them away. Like, it just blows my mind how people can just ignore that.
I'm with you, Johnny Law. We explain them, and then their next question is like, but what about volcanoes? Or something like that. Like,
but where's the edge?
What about, where's the edge? What about Antarctica? What about the sun? I mean, it's like, hello, we've just shown you how it's documented. There's no curvature, no globe. Which part didn't you understand? Apparently all the parts. I'm right with you, Johnny Law.
Yeah, but. I love that one. Yeah, but.
The hand waving is so weird. I mean, I already understood the long distance observations. I already understood that I'd made multiple long distance observations throughout my lifetime without even realizing it, such as Beaver Island from Charlevoix, Chicago from Sawyer, Michigan, so on and so forth. I already knew all that. I already understood the mathematics, that the globe was disproven, debunked, no question, in the trash bin. But then Panto, when I came to this 24/7 or the original version of it, Flat Earth server in 2019, he told me about the laser test in the very VC check-in associated with the server. I was like, what? That's amazing. Not only do we have all these long distance observations, which conclusively demonstrate that it's completely impossible that we could live on a sphere of 3,959 miles, but we also have laser tests very carefully documented in which the laser has hit the target and, excruciatingly documented measurements, including, various levels of error, refraction, all these things they measured. I mean, come on, it's kind of overkill at this point. I don't get it. Why people don't get it? I don't get the hand waving. Right there with you.
And then they did it again 3 weeks later. That's the crazy part. Like, you might be able to say, hey, there was a rare weather event. But 3 weeks later, too, didn't they get the exact same result? I don't think so.
Yeah, John D did a bunch of laser tests as well. Like, we've seen so much of it now. When I first got to it, it was enough for me, the mechanical gyroscope, understanding rigidity in space and how if the Earth were rotating, all mechanical gyroscopes would drift. They do not drift. If the Earth was a ball, as you moved the mechanical gyroscope across the surface of the curved Earth, the housing would twist and you would see the effect of Earth curvature. That doesn't happen. And so it was quite obvious to me, just from the mechanics of how the world works. But we have so much evidence now that it's like unbelievable that people still try to say, no, I'd rather, like Matthew, he'd rather ignore all the evidence and just cling to a belief because that's what everybody else believes.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like you were talking about the gyroscope in a plane. I mean, if you were traveling, I don't know the distance, from here, from United States to Australia, that housing on that gyroscope would literally have to flip 180 degrees, would it not?
Yeah, unless you're going to deny the gyroscopic effect works, or you can try to imagine that gravity is somehow manipulating the gyroscope, but then it would also normally work on the gyroscope, and the gyroscopic effect wouldn't be an effect.
Right. You would, yeah, it would just disavow the gyroscope altogether then. What's the point of even having one?
Yeah, it wouldn't do anything. Nothing useful, at least.
Yeah, somebody here the other day, called flat Earth a discernment test. I think that's a pretty good name for it. Can you actually follow the evidence where it leads, or are you going to stubbornly cling to something that's a hollow belief based on indoctrination and propaganda that has no hard scientific or mathematical evidence to back it up? I mean, you can. I mean, nobody's going to stop you. Obviously, people do, but then don't pretend that you have some kind of intellectual high ground, because you just clearly don't. There's just no other way to put it.
I mean, I get it. I wanted to believe the globe. We were raised in this belief system. As children, we were taught that the Earth was a globe. We saw the cartoons with the globes. Like, it's in the movies. It's everywhere. You're inundated with this propaganda. But the truth is so much simpler. It's so much easier to understand once you actually just let go of what you think you know, and instead of ask yourself, what do I actually know and what can I actually prove? Because that's where the distinction is. A lot of people go through life looking at the news or the internet, and they're like, I believe this, I believe that, I believe this, but it has no foundation in reality.
People are just too disingenuous to actually do that. Most of them. They have too much pride.
Yeah, and also just if you are going to, I mean, it does require a shifting in worldview, and that shifting of worldview requires you to take more responsibility, really, for your own life, your own mind, your own reason, so on. I mean, I shouldn't try to say it in a cavalier way that it's easy to, discard the worldview that is being pushed in such an extreme way, because I get it. Like, some people just need the security blanket of feeling like there's somebody else smarter than them who's figured all this stuff out, and I don't really want to go down that road of trying to figure it out because it's too scary to think I might have to go against the mainstream in this essential way. I mean, I understand that's scary for people.
There's also the poisonous ego that's hidden within it. You're standing on the shoulders of giants, and so anybody who doesn't believe you, they're an idiot automatically, and you ignore what they say.
So you guys
Which you
are.
both pointed out.
Here's another thing. Someone was talking about planes and gyroscopes. First of all, you mentioned like, hey man, this globe stuff works. A mechanical gyro wouldn't work on a spinning globe. It would be useless. You wouldn't, because depending on your orientation relative to the axis of rotation, the gyro could be anywhere. You'd have to constantly calibrate it over and over and over again to be a useless device. And the other thing is, it would be impossible to land a plane on a spinning ball. Okay? Because the equator's traveling at 1,040 miles per hour. Let's say you take off from 45 latitude and you fly south toward the equator. You have to fly to where you think that city is going to be. You can't fly directly at it. But to stay over the same part of the ball in like a quote unquote straight line, you can look at the GIF. You actually have to take like a J-hook line. And then when you get there, where'd the extra speed come from? Because when you took off, it was only 600 miles per hour you were traveling. So where'd the extra 400 miles per hour come from? And now your runways, if it's on the equator moving east to west, you have to come in with your own momentum. You have to come in at an angle. You have to freaking land sideways. And the reputation will say, well, the atmosphere spins with the earth and like the plane's entrained in the atmosphere. Well, that's a cool story, but the wind goes in all sorts of directions. You got jet streams, you got upper level winds, how would all those winds know exactly to speed you up to the exact speed so that you could land on the runway? Because you need another 500 miles per hour. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. People that I just don't get how they can just literally hand wave and look past all that stuff. It blows my mind.
I mean, to be fair, they've never thought about it. But the anti-flat earthers that have thought about it and have been presented with this, so New Perspective presented this to a CERN physicist that cheats physics, and what his rebuttal was: if you took my physics class and found out you was a flat earther, I would fail you. That was his rebuttal to the planes being able to land. He had no rebuttal.
Really, wow.
He just said, "Nuh-uh," and you're a flat earther. If you took my physics class, I'd fail you. That's all he could say. Now, this isn't just like a fly-by-night, CERN physicist. He interacts with people on X all the time for years now. So it's not like he was like, yeah, I'm just like, I'm not going to answer these flat earther questions. He interacts with them he interacts with these guys all the time. So, but when this question came up, he just pulled the ripcord and would not answer.
Yeah, he was the guy that used to come on, he'd come on Flat Earth Fridays all the time, wouldn't he?
Yes.
Yes, I know I know the guy you're talking about now. Yeah, Franco. Yep.
Can you guys speak on how space is fake and how we've never left low Earth orbit? Never been to the moon?
And the low Earth orbit. There are no orbits.
I mean, like, they've never been, like, the ISS is fake. It's in a pool underwater somewhere.
Well, there's 3 ISSs. There's a pool one. There's the one in the Building 9 Space Vehicle Mock-Up Center, Houston, Texas. And then there's the whatever it is you see in the sky. But I doubt that.
They also used to have one inside a Boeing 747, which was for testing during parabolic flights. And you could see some of their claimed videos from outer space being cut at the exact intervals that match the parabolic flight.
They thought they could get away with it. Yeah, every time I argue with my friends about this, they're like, oh, they have a camera on the ISS and you can see a live feed of the Earth. And I'm like, it's a fisheye lens.
Ask them about why the Chinese one shows a flat Earth. So the Chinese space station shows a flat Earth. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got, on one hand, we have a curved Earth and we have a flat Earth on the other hand. So what decides what the truth is? Oh, we do the geometry. And the geometry says you wouldn't see the curve of the Earth from the elevation of the ISS. It's not high enough.
What do you all think that Go Fast rocket? What do you think it's hitting whenever it flies up into the sky?
That was a yo-yo. It had nothing to do with hitting anything. Hey, what's up,
Yeah,
Jack?
it was a D-spin yo-yo mechanism on it.
Doesn't hit a thing, Greg.
Is it still rising?
Can you explain
Yeah.
that? Can somebody explain the yo-yo thing?
Some mechanism within the it's a stabilizer basically.
It de-spins it the same way that a figure skater puts out their arms to slow down. They shoot out these weights on strings to slow the spin of the rocket.
Well, why didn't they have it do that the whole time it was rising? Why did it start at a certain point?
I fucking have no idea, dude. I don't work with those guys. Fucking, I wasn't.
That's what gives it that.
Because a rotating rocket is more stable. That's why.
Okay, makes
a lot
sense.
less engineering.
I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah, come
if
on,
they
it's
did the
not
D-spin
rocket
when they ran
science.
out of thrust. Then they don't have to worry about stability anymore.
Yo, the flat fucking horizon looks even worse. That's horrible.
Someone told me that looked flat because they used the fisheye lens, dude. For real.
What?
Yeah, that it was curved, but when you put a fisheye lens on a curve, it looks flat, dude. It's crazy shit.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. So in case you guys are unaware, it used to be the case. There's a curved horizon, therefore it's a curved Earth. But very famous anti-flat earthers, Ruhif being the number one, and Scott Mackey and some others, said it doesn't matter whether the Earth is curved or a globe, because the way you see would make the horizon curved no matter what. So if the Earth is flat, the horizon will be curved.
Do they make a camera lens or a sensor that doesn't have any curve on it?
No, it's actually impossible to make such a device. Right now.
A rectilinear.
There is a way to do it, but the technology isn't there yet.
Rectilinear is not.
Or metamaterial or some shit.
It's less distorted. Let's just say that.
Well, it distributes the distortion in a particular manner. All these corrected lenses, they distribute the distortion in a particular method so that it preserves certain aspects of the geometry. In order to have true distortion free, you basically need a non-angular field of view. You need a linear field of view. So in other words, the camera has to be the size of the object you're looking at. So, for example, if you had your human eyeball with a few centimeters wide pupil, you would only see, like if I'm looking across at a car, I'd only be able to see the little decal in the corner. I couldn't even see the whole car. I'd have to move my eyes around like a chicken. Be like scanning, I couldn't take it all in at once.
Oh, like the way that they made the blue marble on the background of the iPhone? They pieced all the pictures together. It had to be
I don't
cropped
even know if
together.
they used pictures. They just said data. They didn't even say pictures.
Well, the guy that made the picture from NASA said it had to be photoshopped because it was so many pictures.
It's
They had to
data
put together.
No, he said, but no, he said it was Photoshop because it has to be. But in the article on NASA's website, he just says data. He never says what that data was.
Yeah, he says it's data sets that they wrapped around the ball.
I think the most important aspect of that conversation was that his main job was to make the Earth look like people expected it to be.
That's my favorite part too. Match people's expectations of what the
Exactly.
Earth looks like from space.
Yeah, because only less than 20 people in the history of the space programs have allegedly seen the Earth to be able to know what it looks like. Everyone else is expecting it to look like something. That's even if those guys even saw it. It's like Indio said earlier. It's like if someone showed you a picture and you said, "Oh wow, that looks just like the Earth." How the hell would you know? You have no reference except other pictures that you were shown.
Didn't like Odyssey 2001 come out before they went to the moon? Like, how do they know what it looks like in outer space in the movies in Hollywood?
Looks dark.
Hey, Indio. Or AI. I was wondering your opinion. Have you seen that video of that rocket that they shoot off in Nevada? And you got people claiming that you can see the Hawaiian Islands. Have you guys seen that video?
I haven't seen it. I've only heard it. Let me listen to this, bro. I haven't seen the video. The first time I heard of it was when a Glober tried to say to us, they shot off a rocket and they could see the Hawaiian Islands, and that proves the Earth's a globe. And then India was like, dude, if they shot a rocket from there, Hawaii would be thousands of miles out of your view. So thanks. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Yeah, somebody did the math the other night in the politics Discord, and they said it was like 600 or 560 or 650 miles below the curve if it is actually the Hawaiian Islands. So I don't know. I haven't really looked into that video much or that rocket, so I can't really make any kind of comment on it. I was just curious if you guys have seen it.
Speaking of that, what's a good camera? Is the P1000 still the best camera to demonstrate?
I don't know. A lot of people say P900 is better, or the new P900 because it's lighter, easier to carry around, easier to stabilize. Because the P1000 is like a beast. The P900's a beast, but the P1000's like a wildebeest.
There's also a P1100 that's like the new model.
That's the newest version.
And it's like cheaper than the P1000.
Yeah, because the P1000 is no longer made.
Mm.
But it's a 3-pound camera, which is not good for most people's usage because it's meant to be a birding camera. It's too heavy for most people.
I tell you what, dude, I just use my phone, man. I do short range observations. I don't even do long range observations. I have in the past. I've seen mountains 100 miles away, all kinds of stuff. But I'm into short range observations now. The reason being is because that excludes the claimed curvature and the claimed refraction, bending things around distant objects to bring it to you. And so I got this lake that I go to. It's about 1,000 feet across, and I witness things disappear from the bottom up. And if you know your math, there's no way it could possibly be the horizon of any alleged globe Earth, because the horizon would be two and a half times greater distance. So it's just quick and easy proof that things can disappear from the bottom up isn't an exclusive cause that the Earth must be a globe.
Yeah, when I try to explain like the long hallway observation to people to explain that, they just get upset and just tell me, what does it matter if it's flat or not?
And I must say that I love asking them when they say that, well, since you're asking that question, why are you in here? It obviously matters to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course,
to me, it's like they're just trying to shut down the argument whenever they say that.
Oh, of course,
because their ego is getting upset.
Oh, 100%. And I love to watch them squirm with that answer because, like, they'll say things like, "Oh, well, I'm just here to debate." It's like, well, we're not here to debate. We're here to discuss the truth.
Yeah. So real quick for the people listening in the audience, the globe, when it comes to this idea of ego, a lot of people think, oh, pride. Oh, they're just proud because they have their position and they don't want to admit defeat. No, it's ego in the sense of your identity, because the globe paradigm is imprinted upon you when you're a vulnerable child in your developmental years, right? And who you are, where your safe spaces are, who your parents are, your home, your tribe, all of these things are developmental psychology in a child's life, and they implant the idea that you live on a globe in those moments, and it actually does become part of who you are. And that's why people react so visceral to when it's challenged, because it's part of their identity. And that is a direct attack on the ego. And so to salvage and put their ego back into a safety position, they have to say things like, well, the shape of the earth doesn't matter. Now it's no longer important. So whatever I talk from now on doesn't matter to me because it's not an important topic. So it's no longer threatening.
What do you think would happen if they just said, okay, you're right, it's flat. You're free to leave. You're free to go to the ice wall and go wherever you want. What do you think would happen to the world? And do you think everyone would just start exploring and finding out what's way out there?
Dude, I mean, you said it yourself. You said ice, right? So if you're going out from the central points outward and it gets cold, most people ain't going to want to do that. They're going to be like, heck no, I'm staying here in the heat.
Well, how do we know it's cold?
Exactly.
You're not supposed to go there and disturb the penguins. Why is that?
Well, who says there's an ice wall anyway?
Right. That's just pictures on the internet. But why do we have a treaty with Russia and Antarctica? Aren't we at war with them?
What? I don't know that we've declared war on Russia anytime recently.
Or aren't they? They're adversaries. But why do all the countries come align with Antarctica, but we're sitting here fighting over mineral rights?
It's all a show, my friend.
Yep.
It's a
I don't
show
know,
that
but
people
we're
don't watch
tracking.
anymore.
I don't know, but we're tracking fishing boats regularly sailing right into the coastline of Antarctica.
What are they doing? They're cracking them?
No, according to the tracking data of the boats, sometimes fishing boats sail straight through the apparent coastline of Antarctica willy-nilly.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, dude, it's like in a video game when you can walk through the walls because there's a bug in the code. So is this more proof of simulation theory?
I think it's more like the globe doesn't conform to reality, and so they have to move the coastline closer to conform to the globe idea, but you still have to track the boat. And so you, of course, have a treaty to not allow them to go down there when they're using the tracking systems. Or you have exceptions for when you have a race down there, and then the travel speed of the racing yacht is about jogging speed. It's like almost walking speed. If you walk very fast and you're tall, yeah, that's how fast the racing yachts need to be. Travel around Antarctica in 100 days.
It's also like ridiculous to go travel there. It's like $20,000-$30,000 to go to one spot. It's ridiculous. Why can't you just go explore? Because of the penguins.
That costs $2 million if you want to do that.
And that's if you get approved. and you get all the permits. And they're doing it because they don't want you to die. They don't want you to freeze to death. That's why they're doing all that. But you can climb Mount Everest.
You can freeze to death there, but not where the penguins are. Even if you pay a lot of money and you are allowed to go there, and you get like $2 million, and you get environmental assessments, and you're allowed to go there to the little peninsula, and you're going to cross the peninsula and be like, I walked across Antarctica, and claim some credit. You still have to take all of your poop and pee with you, and you're not allowed to use any kind of like motorized vehicles or anything. You just have to walk it because of the treaty. And like for the penguins, which by the way don't live on the interior of Antarctica, they live on the little islands like Deception Island.
What do y'all think about the 24-hour sun video that all those fake flat earthers went and tried to brainwash us into thinking that they were there?
Well, that's assuming it's a foregone conclusion that people were brainwashed that they were there and that they weren't actually there. So, what evidence do you have that they weren't there?
Well, I think they were brainwashing us to make us think that they were there. But they were just really in a big green screen room, a 360 screen all around them.
Yeah, but that didn't answer my question. What evidence do you have that that's the case?
I don't. I just have what I can see on the internet because I don't have means to get there to see it for myself.
Well, would it matter? Even Duffy, the dude that put it on, said that observations of the sun don't prove the shape of the Earth.
Well, you're just spreading false information too by telling everyone that they faked it.
I mean, I don't think they faked it, though. The lighting there is pretty fucked up. There are some things that are fucked up in the video, but that just could be weird lighting.
Yeah.
What about like Vapegate? I mean, that's fake, right?
I mean,
What is that?
I don't know.
What would that
man.
have to do? What would that have to do with whether they're there or not?
Well, if they were there, they would have, breath vapor, right?
It depends on the temperature of the air. Like, how far are
Yeah,
they
but that's
into
not.
Antarctica? Were they put on the tippy tip of the peninsula? And like, they're not that much further than like south, and I am north. So
Yeah, let me ask you this question, friend who just said that. Do you live in a cold region that gets snow in the winter?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do, and I work outside during the winter. And some days I can see my breath, and some days I can't. And it all depends on the day. Sometimes when it's cold, I can, and when it's a little warmer, I can't, depending on, like, if it's a crisp day or a humid day. And
Some
keep in
days you
mind,
can see your
Antarctica's
breath when you first get outside, and then later on you can't see it anymore.
yeah, and keep in mind, Antarctica's actually a desert, right?
Well, I mean, that's all
Like
true,
all the
but homie did go and try to fake vapor with his vape, right? And like that's agreed, or no?
let's say he did, which I actually did watch the context, and basically it was he was talking to people in a chat room who were complaining to him. Then he went and did it, and then said to them, "There you go, take that." Essentially, so he was clearly doing it to spite the commenters on the chat. So a bunch of social media and somebody reacting to social media really isn't evidence that somebody is or isn't in a specific geographic location.
Oh, all right.
It was a
If you have, if you have any
That's part of their
compelling
story.
evidence, yeah, if you have any compelling evidence that would actually logically lead to a conclusion that would merit the point they're not in a specific location, then I'll be willing to hear it. But none of that type of stuff is any of that type of evidence.
No, yeah, you're right. I just have the vape date. That's all I got.
Like I told Witsit before he went, it doesn't really matter. Like, back in 2016, we were all like, well, the sun could be moving like this way or that way, or like in Antarctica, we could maybe see the sun going in circles, and there could be different explanations. Today, we don't try to make up explanations because we don't have enough data to actually say this is how it is. Like, I don't know what Witsit claims to have seen because I haven't watched all his stuff, but that doesn't speak for me. Or even if he sees the sun goes in a circle, that's something that we already thought was possible. Maybe we just don't know enough.
What if they were just standing on a giant iceberg that was just spinning really slow?
We couldn't understand. Well, it still doesn't change the fact that the 5 videos of a 24-hour sun were fake. They're still fake. It didn't cure that problem. Why did they fake all those videos?
There's a lot of weird questions, so we want those questions answered. This was a supposed means of trying to answer that question, but it's hard to put credibility onto these people, so you kind of gotta take the bad with the good and just say, like, this is a data point, and we can test what we can test, and once any of us can test it, we'll add to the data. But until then, it's just a data point. We don't even know if it's real yet.
It's not the end either, because other people are now inspired to go on their own without the auspices of such a trip like the TFE or anything. So flat earthers are raising money on their own to go. Some are planning to go the very next season when it's going to happen, supposedly. So
I got a question now.
Within a year, we might have something new to talk about that.
Where's the 24-hour moon?
Well, supposedly they couldn't stay for the 24-hour moon. I think they should go during the alleged 24-hour moon, because when they went during the alleged 24-hour sun, they did a sundial. But I'd like them to go back and do a moon dial, because supposedly the moon dial results in the same angles. And how could you have that if it's 400 times removed in space from where the sun is? How could you have the same angles on your sundial, moon dial? Doesn't make no sense.
Makes no fucking sense.
They'll probably say that it's going to be too cold because the sun's not going to be out. So they couldn't do the tests.
I mean, doesn't even matter. Doesn't matter what. I mean, you can look in the sky all you want. It isn't going to tell you anything about the shape of the Earth. Not definitively.
I have a very deep question for y'all.
Just hold on. I always use this analogy. If anyone else ever brings this up to you, so this is the analogy I use. Can you figure out what your house is made out of by looking at your neighbor's house?
No.
Obviously not, right? So you can't figure out what the Earth is by looking at something that's not the Earth.
I have a very deep question for all of y'all. What's the point of making us all believe that this is a ball? Like, what is the
made you.
people that are controlling us? What are they getting out of this?
You're a volunteer, brother. No one made you do anything.
Well, I mean, just the way that people are so their passion to just believe what's on the media, and the media keep continuing to make people believe and shut down flat earthers and make us seem like we're stupid or don't know what we're talking about. What's the point of shutting down that research? To do
different
what?
people have different motivations. A lot of people, like we see this with a lot of glopers, they, like Indio said earlier, it's tied into their identity. They want to be right about this. They believe it's so hard, so it offends them that you're saying anything against it.
I'm thinking more in like the terms of like we're like cattle living on a pasture. We're not allowed to get outside the fence. Why?
There is no fence.
They don't want us to know that
a self-imposed
this place
fence
is special. They don't
That's what I'm
want us
talking
to
about.
know that a creator created this, right? Because if it's an intelligent design, it requires a creator. They don't want us to know that there is a creator. They don't want us to have a relationship with the creator.
The problem is we can't divine the intentions of others, and this concerns a large group of people, so they have different intentions, different people, so we can't really say why they lied about different things or why they believed different things, and maybe they weren't presented. Some of them weren't presented with the truth, and they just kept on believing it. So we can't assume.
Well, there's a big problem with that. Big problem with that.
Answered my question. It's why do they not want us to know the creator?
No. Listen, pay attention.
Because real quick.
Oh, hold on, friend. Hold on. Okay, you're factually wrong. The majority of people, okay, on the earth right now adhere to religions in which those religions have a specific agent creator. So if that's true and you're saying it's to hide the creator, that doesn't math up.
No, it's mainstream science. Doesn't want us to know, like, that's another argument that all these religions are psyops, right? They want us to think it's just belief in a book that was written thousands of years ago, right?
Well, who is this mainstream science dude?
The people that run mainstream academia worldwide.
Who's that?
I don't think you thought about this too hard. You said they want you to not believe in a creator, but the majority of people on earth believe in a creator. So how does that work?
Because the people that, look into what this realm is, they want us to think we're insignificant. The people like the highest astronomers are mostly atheists, correct?
Probably.
Okay, that's fair, but atheism is statistically insignificant. It's irrelevant.
So these people that push this narrative at the highest levels, these high priests, do not want us to think there is a creator. Now, all these religions may be dead ends to the actual creator, where you can have a personal relationship and know that this place is special, made for us. We're not a speck of dust on a rock hurling through the infinite of space.
You might be approaching this wrong as far as motive goes. Do you think Neil deGrasse Tyson actually knows whether the Earth is flat or a ball? Do you think he knows? Do you think he's actually ever done anything?
No.
Yeah,
he's an actor.
Yeah, but he is. He could be an actor. But I'm saying the people that control academia, that write the curriculum,
they don't know anything either, dude. This is what you're getting confused. No, the people we've talked to, people from academia, all sorts of PhDs, you name it. None of them actually know anything. They're all just believers in this globe Earth idea.
Okay. So
they just believe it. They don't know anything.
Okay, I get you.
So they're not lying. I just want to get that clear, though, brother. That they're not lying. They believe what they're saying.
I hear your point, but you're not listening to me. I think you're missing something. The highest of the power. Do you not think this is a spiritual warfare? Do you not think this is a spiritual warfare? That's my question to you.
Yeah, I do. But when you say highest power, I think of a man. I don't like what man?
No, it is. If it's a spiritual warfare, who do you think is trying to keep us ignorant of the Creator.
The devil? Evil people?
Something like that. Evil people. Children of that evil entity. And if you don't think there are children of that evil entity, then we fundamentally disagree.
I got one for you. What if the evil entity tricked you into thinking the other people were trying to hide the truth, so that you'd be tricked into going down his deception to then arrive at the creator that you believe in is actually the evil entity itself?
Definitely
That's
a
just
possibility.
depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you think you're the good guy and you're doing good things, and you have the secret knowledge that comes from God himself. And so why wouldn't they just tell what they believe to be true and as if it's true?
Yeah.
It's just a belief. You see this cults all the time.
Yeah. And that's just where you have to ask yourself, is my relationship with the Creator, could I be being tricked? I will say, yeah, there's a possibility, but I strongly disagree with that. I don't think being tricked.
Well, for example, there's an ancient book that says that the evil entity, right, has designs against the true creator to usurp the creator's position and to be worshipped as the creator. So that's his goal, right? So if that's the case, and it also says that he's the greatest deceiver, the king of lies, the father of lies, and he deceives the entire world. So if that's true, that he wants to be worshipped as God, but he's deceiving the entire world, then the idea that he would want to hide a creator is false. He actually wants people to believe in a creator because he would want to be worshipped as the creator. So you see how weird that is?
Well, I don't agree with that. I think above him being worshipped, he wants the children of the Creator to blasphemize or blaspheme, whatever the word is. Right? They want. I think above him being worshipped as a creator, he wants to turn us against our Father.
Well, in order to do that, he would have to characterize that individual as the evil entity. So he'd have to switch roles. I'm the good guy is the bad guy, right? Which would be a great deception. And so the people who think they're following the good guy are actually following the bad guy, being tricked into thinking that the good guy is the bad guy.
But then you have to ignore revelation of the method, which I believe is true. And then you have to presuppose that the Creator would allow this to happen, to allow you to be deceived when you are reaching out with your intention as a creation.
Yeah, fair enough.
Of
Fair
him.
enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of people do think they have noble intentions and noble motives, but at the deep rooted, it's all selfishness. And so part of the process, right, is to be revealed the true nature of things, right? It's like a learning. And in order to learn, you have to experience the evil and the good. Because if you experience nothing but good, you can't really appreciate it.
Can you repeat that point? Without the evil and the good, kind of like you can't experience joy without pain. Is that what you're getting at?
Right. It's like contrast, like in a painting. If you paint a painting all one color, you can't see anything. There could be 1,000 people in your painting, but they're all the same color, so all you see is purple. Right? Contrast is very important in communication.
Yeah, but if there were outlines of those right people,
that's contrast. Yeah, that would be contrast.
Okay. I would just say that you're presupposing there's no contrast in that analogy.
Well, no, there is contrast. That's my point.
Yeah, but I wouldn't equate that contrast to, evil having to exist to create that contrast.
Well, okay, then you're left with evil does exist. So why? I have a functional reason for it to exist in my worldview, and that's for the necessary contrast for our learning and edification and theosis, which means God teaching us things that we can't know in any other way without experience.
Yeah, I understand. So I'm not saying this is true at all. This is just what I believe, right? Definitely could be wrong. believe there's this misconception that the creator is all powerful and in control of everything. And I don't think that is the case. I think there are other entities outside of his control that he doesn't have complete power over. And I'm not trying to
so you
take away
you don't
anything
believe
from
in a transcend. Yeah, right. So check this out, brother. What you just told me is that you don't believe in a transcendental creator. You believe in a contingent creator, right? And so basically, in my view, you've fallen for the synthetic paradigm. So you're actually deceived, in my view.
Okay, I'll have to look more into the what paradigm it is.
Well, you got to think about it this way: if the creator is the creative source of all things that are not himself, then that means all entities are subordinate to his power. Period. That'd be by definition.
I don't think that.
Okay, so then you believe let me tell you what you actually believe. This is going to blow your mind. You believe in the exact same thing that evolutionary Big Bang globe zealot psychologists, astrophysicists, scientists, etc., are coming to believe lately. That through experimentation, that sentience is the first order, and time, matter, and energy states are secondary. So, in other words, sentience is eternal. And so that would be an eternal sentient entity as the source of the physical and natural world, much like a creator. But they don't attribute that to a singular agent. They attribute it to multiple agents of varying strengths and intensities that commune together to create the world.
Okay.
So
well, I would say
you are basically agreeing with their position.
No, I would say our fundamental disagreement is they are materialists. They don't believe in supernatural.
Oh, they're not. They're not materialist. I just got through telling you that they believe that sentience is eternal. That means they can't be materialist.
But if you ask them, if there's anything after this life, most of them would say no.
Oh no, you don't. You're not getting it. What I'm telling you is that through the scientific paradigm that we've been going through for the past hundreds of years, leading up till today, to where they went through this period of time to where it was very intensely theological, and like we're trying to understand the world that God created to the materialist, there is no God, everything's science and just brute matter, to now they're coming full circle with all the experiments and evidence that they've collected that the only conclusion they can reach is that they were wrong about materialism, that it's actually the case that the immaterial world is where the material world comes from, not the other way around. So they're abandoning all those conclusions that there's no life after death, there's no spirits, there's no eternal entities, there's no gods, demigods, etc., etc.
Okay, I was unaware that the mainstream was changing their
Look, it's not
stance
that
on that.
mainstream yet. It's not that mainstream yet, but it's coming down the pike.
Okay.
Why do you think they're doing that, A.I.?
Yeah.
Because it never was about hiding God. It was about usurping God in a place of a false God, right?
Oh, yeah. Instead of saying
So
that God's not real, they're going to play God.
Correct. And now if you can believe that God is an entity that's within the universe and not transcendent in the cause of the universe, he now becomes invincible.
Well, why does he have to be bound by this universe? What if he created the entire universe, but there are also entities on his level that he's not in control of that can play a role in this universe he created?
Right. So then that would be like a bunch of Pantheon or something. So
What
yeah,
did you
so you
say?
don't believe it. You don't believe in a transcendental creator of everything. You believe that there's a bunch of powerful entities. One of them decided to make the universe we live in.
Something special for us, his children.
Right. So then how can we be assured that the other entities aren't going to kick his ass one day?
We can't. We just have to have faith and love him because we are him.
He has an ass to kick.
Right, that's my point, is that the traditional concept of a transcendental entity that's the source of all other things makes that source, it makes it necessary, right? So it's eternally necessary. Can't be destroyed, can't be harmed, can't be damaged, because all
What
the
if
dimensions are lesser dimensions, right? And so the energy doesn't go upwards, it goes downwards. So if
the
you
only way?
take that version, just hold on, if you take that version off the throne, you now have a plausible contender to challenge him. And now your allegiance can go, well, that guy isn't the guy because he's not the ultimate authority, because power equals authority. So I'm just picking sides based on who I like the best, not who actually is the actual true creator.
I see what you're saying.
You're picking sides because you believe you are his child. You are of him. You are not of
Fair enough.
the devil.
Fair enough, but there's an ancient document that says most people are father is the devil because they're deceived and they have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue that's not possible. It could definitely be deceived.
Yeah, but see, you make it. Yeah, but see, when you take it into a plethora of agents, which are all rivals, right? Now it's like, well, now you have this whole different smorgasbord of choices and decisions and influences. So it makes the
you do
problem
have a
worse,
choice.
in my opinion.
Well, you do have a choice to turn your back on your father, right? You have a choice to worship Satan. There are Satanists.
Well, why not? According to your view, you're not certain whether Satan's going to win or not.
That is irrelevant to me. I'm going to go down supporting my creator.
All right.
If that is the case.
See what he's saying. He's rather just live life, just loving people and loving himself and loving everyone, because you can either pick that or you can just be an asshole to everybody. You don't know where you're going to end up.
But I do
one
feel
might be better than the other.
A connection. I definitely feel a connection. I have a relationship with the creator. I have things that are supernatural that happen to me. And it just...
That kind of sounds like what an asshole would say. Houston.
Hey.
Funny frog, huh?
I won't argue with that. I can be an asshole.
Yeah, you stand
well,
corrected.
To be fair, I personally think that is the reason why there's all these lies about the metaphysic in which we live in and the cosmological paradigm in which we live in. It's to change your opinions about yourself in relationship to reality and the source of reality. So in other words, it alters your view of why you're here, who you are, and do you actually have to answer to anyone. And so when those views are challenged, especially if you have agents that are greater than yourself that care about those views, they can then weasel their way in. And so, in my opinion, it's all a grand design to usher in a synthetic religion, which puts a false god in the place of the true god. And the majority of humanity, right, can hold hands and sing kumbaya under that synthetic religion.
That sounds like something an evil person would do. It's a smart way to continue the control.
Yeah, and to be fair, it doesn't even matter if any of the religious propositions or any of the spiritual or supernatural claims are true or not. It only matters if it can be used as an element to control people. Because let's just say, for sake of argument, that the people perpetrating it don't believe any of it. But they know humans are prone to believe it. So whether it's true or not, the effect is the same.
Yeah.
Just like I said, majority of people on Earth right now, I mean, what do we got? 2 to 3 billion Christians and Muslims, right? Which are specific theists, right? Which means not only are they theists, but they specifically believe in a specific God, right? As the creator of everything, right? And I think it's actually like 2 billion Christians and 2 point something billion Muslims or something. And then the next one is Hindus or something. So it's like the majority of people on the earth believe in a specific agent theistic God worldview paradigm.
I'm going to change the subject. What's above us? What do you think is out there? Like, what do you like? Obviously, space is fake. We haven't been out in outer space, but what is above us? Why is it blue? What are the stars?
Why is it black?
Yeah, like that. All those questions. Yeah.
Yeah, ask
Well,
God.
like,
What are your thoughts?
if you go high enough, it's not blue anymore, right? And then you're looking down at the blue, and when you spin around, you're looking at black, right?
Yeah.
And you could get that effect at nowhere near quote unquote space altitudes.
And if we're flying through this universe and all these stars are there's trillions and trillions of stars, why do the constellations stay the same? Why are the planets still in the same position? Or if they even are planets, just moving lights in the sky.
What if they're just following us because they're lonely?
And how do the Starlink satellites stay up there? How do any of the satellites stay up there?
Well, how do they stay up there in the globe paradigm? They're in an area where they're not affected by something that would bring them back to the Earth for whatever reason. And so, if there's something up there that's not returning to the Earth like many of the other objects that we see would do, then it's the same answer because they're in it. They're doing something that's keeping them from returning to the Earth. They're either in an area that's causing it, or they themselves are causing it.
There was this guy that I was listening to. He comes in here sometimes. He says he works for oh hell, what is it? He does something with satellites though, and he says that the propelling system on those satellites have to do with electromagnetism. I think he says he works for oh, what the hell? Can't remember his name now.
Is it Josh Ingersoll?
Yes. Josh Ingersoll. Yeah, he said that the motors that they have, or the system that propels those satellites, are electromagnetic motors or thrusters or something like that.
I mean,
So
the
who knows?
voltage
Maybe
go ahead.
I was just going to say maybe they use some kind of electromagnetic field to stay propelled up there. Who knows?
Also works for the UN, or worked at the UN.
That dude did? Josh Ingersoll or whatever?
Yes.
Okay.
So are they getting powered by like wireless electricity? Like Tesla technology? Nikola Tesla? Like how do they stay energized?
I don't know. Electromagnetic. That's the only thing he said.
Well, look, there's a common misunderstanding about the nature of reality, which isn't necessarily proven. It's a philosophy, and that is the uniformitarian assumption that physics and circumstances that occur locally occur everywhere in the universe. So, for example, you'd say if I'm 1,000 feet off the ground, all of the physics are going to be the same as if I'm 10,000 feet off the ground. Or if I just keep going away from the Earth, sure, there'll be different forces that are applying, but the fundamental way in which everything works is going to be identical. I mean, that's just fantasy.
Like, are you saying like the pressure up there there's less pressure up there than down here?
I'm saying,
like the whole.
I'm saying, for all we know, there's different elements up there. You're an entirely different medium that behaves completely differently, and the concepts that you understand here, like up, down, heavy things, light things, inertia, motion, all those things could be different up there. How would you know?
Yeah.
Or like, let me tell you something that sounds that let me just say it and then I'll explain it. People say, "Oh, how could I see the sun here if the Earth is flat? What would it be over there?" I might reply, "Transdimensional hyperloops." And they would say, "Well, that's just stupid." Be like, "Really? Well, then why was it when you went to the movie theater and watched the movie Interstellar or watched the movie Thor?" And the quote unquote scientists were folding a piece of paper and stabbing a pencil through it and saying, "Look, if you fold space into this trans hyperloop, you can travel through it just like this pencil." How come when you watch that, you're like, "Oh, that's so sciencey"? But when I said it in regards to flat Earth, you laughed at me. It's the exact same claim. What's going on, bro?
Because flat Earth is stupid.
Right. So, in other words, globers get to appeal to exotic physics that are pure fantasy and just pass it off like it's, you know, science fiction, but actual real science. But if it's in the context of a flat Earth discussion, all of a sudden it's absurd. It's like, do you not see your own contradiction here? And I'm not saying any of that's true. I'm just saying the fact that they so flippantly believe in all of that science, quote unquote, mumbo jumbo, where it's just a bunch of astrophysicists trying to get funding for their department talking out their asses about all this fancy stuff going on a trillion light years away that it doesn't even matter. And then someone might say, well, how do you know they're wrong about all their claims? Well, it's simple, because we actually live on the Earth, and the core fundamental principle of their entire paradigm is that the Earth is a globe. It's the linchpin of their cosmological worldview. And since the Earth is clearly not a globe, then all of their nonsense stories that require the Earth to be a globe in the first instance, like the angles to the stars and our location in the solar system, our location in a galaxy, our location in an expanding universe, etc., blah, 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 it's all nonsense. So, yeah, all their claims that they're making from that framework are false. So it's not so much that quote unquote space is fake. It's that the story that you've been told about what space is and how it works in relationship to the Earth is one big story.
I got you.
A religious story at that. It's got a creation mythos. It's got a why you're here, where ethics come from, where you're going, maybe to be burned up in the expanding sun or to survive to the heat death of the universe. Got it all. It's one big religion.
So what you're saying is stop arguing with people about information that we don't know and just look at what's in front of you. Look at what you can see, feel, and touch. And it looks flat. So I'm just gonna assume it's flat.
Well, that may be fair, and they would agree with you. They would agree with you that it looks flat, but then they would go on to say, but it isn't flat, right? But you could actually measure it and find out. That's the beauty of the fact that the curvature of the Earth is the Achilles heel of their entire paradigm. It's either is curving or it isn't curving. If it's not curving, then their whole paradigm is false. It's just like Achilles. You know, his mom dipped him in invincibility syrup when he was young, but she was holding him by the ankles. And because she was a retard moron, instead of just flipping him upside down and then dipping his ankles in the invincibility serum, she just said, oh, well, I guess I'll wash my hands and just let you go free with a big spot on your ankle where someone could kill you. And that's what the globe did. They made this elegant, invincible worldview of excuse upon excuse upon excuse of everything about everything, all the way back to the creation of the universe via the Big Bang, all the way to the future of the heat death of the universe or the Big Crunch. But they forgot that they didn't dip the ankle in the invincibility serum. And that ankle, the Achilles heel, is the curvature. And you just shoot the curvature with a bow and arrow, and shablam, it all dies. Now, you might be saying, what does this have to do with the actual curve of the Earth? A bow and arrow, Achilles heel, I'll tell you. A curve of a circle between 2 points, right? You put a point on a circle, you put another point on a circle, and then you draw a line. That's called a chord line. In the middle of that chord line, you place a dot, and then you draw a line from the center of the circle through the dot, and then through the surface at the highest point of the arc. That's called the sagitta, named after Sagittarius, the archer, bow and arrow. So you can actually go out and measure the sagitta and find out that it's not actually there because there is no curve. So a bow and arrow is exactly what's needed to destroy the entire globe fantasy. Just like Achilles, shot right in the heel, you're dead. Rest in peace. Go ahead.
How many people in here are Sagittarius?
So I was just going to add to what you're saying, AI. This is, of course, why we see just every single anti-flat Earth source dissuade curious minds from paying any attention to the ground, of course. They don't want to put a spotlight on the Achilles heel. And this is why we get such immense pushback when it comes to just trying to keep a glober we're talking to on the topic of the ground. They'll, jump and flail all over the place to get away from it.
That Achilles heel remind me of Talon. You know Talon? He's been in the politics server for a while. Talon. He's a glober. And Talon is the heel in Spanish. And I was telling him that about the curvature. That was his Achilles heel. And his name is Talon. Heel. Pun intended.
I think it's pretty overwhelming for globers, though, that such an immense ideological structure, can be dismantled so simply, and they find issue with accepting that,
Yeah, it's like the reverse big lie, right? Like that. I think it was Goebbels or whoever was, one of those Nazi dudes, whatever, who said, if you repeat the lie big enough and often enough, people will believe it. But it's like the opposite. In this case, it's like if you make the defeater of your worldview so simple and mundane, nobody would believe that it's possible that something that obvious could destroy an entire field of immense studies and money and expense and quote unquote space things in the sky and like all this huge infrastructure. How could it all be just built on the simple fact that the water's not curving, just destroys it all. They're like, how absurd is that?